Hi, this is Christine with Stampin' Up. I wanted to show you two alternate cards. This video will feature one from my class cards. So I'm going to start off with one piece. You can use, whichever you want. We've got 12 of these all together. So whichever one you want to make a card with. So the first thing you're going to do, and you can use your scissors to do this, or if you've got your scoring tool handy, your cutting board handy, you can use it as well. And I'm going to cut these guys on the score lines. So I don't know if you've seen, I've seen several iterations of this card. We're going to make a pumpkin card with these pieces. And we're also actually, you know what, it might even be easier. I'm just going to do this with my scissors. And the reason for that is I want to save a piece that we're actually going to use on our next card is this little hexagon piece. So just cut along the score lines using your scissors. If you want to use your cutting board, that's fine. Just make sure to keep this hexagon intact because we're going to use it later. And we're just going to cut off all the extra little bits as well. And then we're going to trim the pieces to be a little more ovally. Now, we don't need them all. We're going to have one left over of these pieces. So I'm just cutting along the score line. And then I want to round out my edges just a wee bit. So we are making this into a sort of pumpkin. This doesn't need to be perfect, and I would encourage you to have, different looking ones. So not one of these pieces will be identical, and that is a good thing because we want it to look kind of organic. So the ones with the tails, I'm just kind of following that curve where I can. And then any bits that are raised from your score lines, just trim those off too. So I want to try to keep the size, but trim them around. So this will be number 4. We do need 5 of these all together. So I just want to make sure I don't have any square, angular kind of bits. And lastly, we'll trim this one off. Get rid of my hard angles. And there we go. So that is the cutting that we need to do for the first card. I don't know if you can see my scrap pile. I've got this piece left and I think it's a hexagon, stop sign shape. And the rest is garbage. So we don't need these right now. We're going to use those for the next card. We're going to use this. And we're going to need one of these labels. So you only need 12 if you're going to make all the favors. By sacrificing one of these, you're only going to need 11. And we've got extras. So that's always nice to have extras. Then you've got about 12 inches of the linen thread in here. I'm just using my bone folder to straighten that out. I just find it easier to work with. Then you've got a little pumpkin stem or tail. This piece is for the inside, and I have cut it with the what's it called? Stitched with Whimsy dies, which I just love, and they add a fun little element to them. So this is the inside of your card. This will be for the outside. This is regular white cardstock that I've embossed with the bark embossing folder. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we've got Cajun Craze. cardstock. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Not true. 4 1/4 by 11. And we're folding it in half at the score mark. It's scored at 5 1/2. So it's a standard sized card. So once you've folded that, you can put it aside. Let's do the inside of our card and our little tag first. We'll do our stamping. And so our ink color this month is Soft Succulent, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. So I've got too many bits. I'm very distracted these days. I don't know what's going on. So we're going to do a leaf on the inside of our card. I am loving these leaves, these little 2-step leaves. So first step is with the bigger leaf. And then you're going to use your veins or spines of the leaf. I don't know what the correct term is. And you're going to stamp that over top. Nice and centered. And there you go. Love it. You could use your maple leaf if you want to. There we go. So you're doing this on the horizontal. Put that aside. And then we've got our little tag. You could do, hello, pumpkin. Hey there, pumpkin. Or thank you, whatever you like best. I am going to do thank you. I love the font that they've used on this thank you. And you kind of want to do it with your with the whole of the tag on the left for this card. If you don't end up doing that, it's still totally usable. You're just going to put it together the other way. And that's it for our stamping for this card. So I'm going to put this away and let's assemble our card. So I'm going to put the inside on the inside. If you're using liquid glue, be very careful. You really don't need a lot. I mean, this is on the inside of the card. It's not under stress. And you really want to make sure that you're not going to have liquid glue poking through these little holes, because if you do, you're just going to seal the card shut. And nobody wants that. So that's the inside. Yeah, I'll set this aside again and we'll do our outside. So the base of your card is this embossed piece. You can use it either side, it doesn't matter. I'm going to move my stamps. All right, so if you prefer to have the yellow, you can do the yellow, or you can do the green side. So entirely up to you. I'm really liking, you know what? I'm going to do the yellow on this one. So I'm going to arrange my pieces. The green, you can see, has different gradients of color, but the yellow is yellow. And I think this is pale papaya, actually. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up my pieces. I'm starting on the outside, and I'm angling the pieces a little bit. There we go. And lastly, we're going to have a centerpiece. So for your centerpiece, I'm going to put that on dimensionals. It's entirely up to you if you want to do that. But the idea is to have your base of the pumpkin a little bit bigger than the top. So I'm just putting these out so that I have a visual image of where I want to put them. So I'm going to take out these pieces, and I'm just going to use liquid glue to put those down. Because the paper is embossed, you want to be fairly generous with the glue so that you're for sure going to get contact at some point. There we go. Then I'll do my middle pieces. And I'm not putting glue all the way to the very top because I want to leave room to slide in my stem. Haven't done that yet. And I'm also placing my pieces. You can see I've got about 1/4 inch from the bottom. Also intentional there. And lastly, we're going to do the centerpiece. So I'm going to put 3 dimensionals on that and not right up to the top. Super simple card to put together once you get started. There we go. So that's a little bit raised up. Now for our stem, you may want to cut this a little bit if the shape's not exactly to your liking. That is entirely your call, and I shall not be offended. I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue on the back of that. Actually, it's a little bit more than a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm just sliding that down there. And then with that piece of twine I gave you, you're just going to make a bow. So it's probably off camera at this point, sorry. So I just threaded the hole through, making a wee knot and a simple bow. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to use 2 dimensionals on the back of my thank you, and I'm not going to put them right up to the top either. I'm just going to kind of do closer to the bottom edge and a center one, because the top is going to be touching the raised panel from my pumpkin. So I don't want it sticking way up. So this way it becomes kind of flush. And I'm going to put it up near the top so it looks like it's tied. Or kind of gives the illusion that it's tied. So that's our front panel. I'm just going to put some liquid glue on the back of that and stick it to my card base. So there's a lot of variations of this card on the Facebook group, the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club. So there are, if you want other ideas on how to do it, or you could make this entirely your own with your supplies. I just thought it was a fun way to turn one of these little gift boxes into a card if you don't have a need for 12 little gift boxes. There we go. So this is with the bark embossing folder, and I really couldn't decide, so I ended up using the, I think it's called Painted Impressions embossing folder first. So this is with the green pumpkin, and here is with the yellow. So I hope you like this design. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to do a separate video for our little option number 2.